opened in 2000, and a local authority wanted the school to have a resource space for children with physical disability or visual impairment. So the school was built with that in mind, so it's very much just part of the school, and the specialist provision is really the extra staffing and the specialist staff who support those children in class.
At the very beginning, we talked about what they wanted for their school, and one of the things that came out that was really, really important to everyone was around equal opportunities and everybody having the right to a decent education. It wasn't about including children and just being the resource-based children. It was about including every single child and thinking about what every child in this school needed so that they had the best opportunities to achieve and succeed in the wider aspects of school life, not just academically.
Most schools have a resource base, which is actually a base that would be somewhere on site. All of our children are fully included into the mainstream. One thing that I found in SEN setting was that as much as it was lovely and the children were well looked after, they weren't necessarily pushed to their full potential. And that's one thing that I loved when I looked around this school. Every child is thought of individually. They're not classed as higher, middle or lower ability, and it's trying to push them on in their individual journeys. We have something called building, applying, extending. So our children work at the level that they think they're at, and teachers will, very, very discreetly go and push them on. So it's, very, very strategic how the teachers manage those lessons.
Because the school has, from the very beginning, been set up to think about how to include everybody, I think the children also adopt that and understand that.
The support Matthew has in class is that he has a teaching assistant who adapts whatever the other children are doing to suit Matthew. So he uses an app on the iPad to write his sentences, which are then printed out, so that there's some way of getting what's in Matthew's head out, so that he can be assessed like the other children, or he can express himself.
We normally try to plan a meeting in the early part of the week with the teacher, the inclusion teacher also, any relevant TAs in the class, because it's not just resource-based TAs, there'll be SEN TAs. We all come together, we read over the plans, and then we make suggestions as how we might modify the lessons that are coming up to suit the child that we're working with. It brings the subject to life for a start. It gives the teacher an insight into what we're hoping to achieve with the children and also what she wants from the children.
I think it's a really supportive place to work, and I think that inclusion doesn't just apply to the children. I think it's the whole staff as well, in that it's very supportive and people look out for each other, people problem solve together.
As a governing body, we view inclusion as a very high priority. Whichever issue that we're discussing as a body, the inclusion element is very high on our priority list, and we look at that first.
All the major school events, things like whole school trips, individual class trips, residential trips, they're just planned from the outset so that everyone can be involved and included. I would say that having that approach and giving that amount of thought and planning to what you do benefits every single child in the school.
The buddy system that they have at the school is my personal favourite element of the school. It works fantastically, and each of those children and his class collectively, they know that there is a difference, but there is no issue with that difference. Ralphie's doing exceptionally well at this school, and I think for his buddies as well, it helps them. They're gaining all sorts of responsibilities. So I think the buddy system, I'm an absolute champion for. It's fantastic.
So they'll volunteer to be the buddy, have that little bit of training, just to understand, again, it's how much to do, when to step back. They can be a buddy and a learning partner, so every child will have a learning partner in different curriculum areas.
When I'm a buddy with Joe, the best part is when he shares his jokes with me, and now we're becoming really good friends because I didn't know Joe very well, but now, because I'm his buddy, I get to know him a bit better, so I'm getting to know his personality and what he likes now a bit better.
The major feature is that children, they seek out the disabled children play with just as they'd play with any other child. And if you come during school times or play times and watch the playground, you can see them just playing perfectly naturally. There's no one's forced to play with anybody. They choose to.
It's a massive benefit to Matthew. Matthew was barely speaking before he came into this school. He would say a few words. He now holds conversations with me. So socially, Matthew needed to be in a school like this. He's a bright boy and he needed to be with his peers.
The best thing about the school is how everybody's included in everything and how the buddy system works. Maths, literacy, time, go work. I think about the school is like a place for people to work. The best thing about our school is that all the same people like Joe and Olivia and Matthew are included in our games.
All around the school and the playground, disabled children can get to everywhere.
With all the lovely equipment on the field, what the children really wanted to do was play in the bushes. And so it was really important that when we made the path around the field, that there were also kind of little paths going off down into the bushes, so everyone could go in the bushes and build dens and play together, which is what the children really love to do. The children who were wheelchair users wanted to have some bumps to make it, interesting, exciting. These are some of the humps that they built in. And then the path goes down here into the bushes, and then you can see the children can make dens to the stage area, and then in the middle here we've got the fire pit, then this kind of multi-sensory area where we've got the mirrors and the musical instruments. So it means that everyone can play together and do the things that all the children enjoy doing most, which is the kind of free play, the kind of outside in the real environment. So
I would say, firstly, Matthew would be lost in a special school. I would say that people who think that disabled children shouldn't be in a mainstream school, I think you have to very much look at every individual child. I think that the benefits the mainstream children get from having disabled children in the class are immense. You just have to look at the children in this school to see that.
It works. And I think not only that, the most important thing, again, having one child is disabled and one that's not, is that it's not just the disabled children that benefit. The benefits on the other children, their empathy and their social awareness is amazing.
If you want society to be made up of people of different skills and different abilities, and for everybody to see everybody as people rather than see their disability first, then you need to start it from very early age. You need the school to reflect how you want society to be when you get out in the real world, and I hope that our school does that.
If there wasn't any disabled children in the school, it wouldn't be a different school. It would just be the same as most other schools, but I like the school if it's a bit different.
If this was the only school, then nobody would really know about disabled people.
I think the ethos of valuing every child and educating the whole child and not just thinking about academic attainment but every aspect of a child's achievement, again, I think that benefits every single child. Personally, I can't see any disadvantages to it.
I think all schools should be more inclusive, though. I think that's the way it should be going.